This is Dr. Rajneesh Kumar. I am working in Noida Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida. So, in continuation with our previous lecture, in which we have discussed some important name reactions, for examples, reduction by sodium boron hydride or lithium aluminum hydrides, and we have also discussed Clemenson reductions, Wolff-Christian reactions. So, in continuation with those lectures, we have now discussed some another important reactions, that is Birch reduction and Dakin reaction. It is a part of your 5th units pharmaceutical organic chemistry 3rd. The subject code is BP 401T. So, as you have seen in the slide, we will cover two important reaction in this particular lecture. One is Birch reaction and second is Dakin reaction. So, both the reactions are very important. As the name suggests, in Birch reduction we are going for the reduction of some aromatic compounds, while in case of Dakin reactions some aryl aldehyde or aryl ketones was involved, where we have we will oxidize them with the help of hydrogen peroxide. So, how it will happens, we will see one by one. Okay. So, first of all we come on the Birch reduction. So, as you can read out on the slide, Birch reduction is a process for converting benzene and its aromatic relatives or analogues to 1,4-cyclohexadiene using sodium or lithium, or you can say any other alkali metals. For examples, you can also take you can say potassium as a reducing agent in liquid ammonia. Liquid ammonia is having very low boiling point, that is -33 degrees centigrade, as solvent in the presence of an alcohol such as ethanol, methanol or butanol. When benzene is treated with metallic sodium or lithium or sometime potassium in liquid ammonia as a solvent in the presence of a proton source, for example, ethanol, methanol or tertiary butanol, the result is net reduction of one of the double bond of the benzene ring to give 1,4-cyclohexadiene. So, when we are saying that it is a process for converting benzene into 1,4-cyclohexadiene. So, you can understand that only one of the 3 double bonds of benzene will be reduced by using sodium or any other alkali metal in the presence of alcohol. So, what is actually happening? We are using alkali metals like sodium, lithium or potassium. So, what actually they do? They are providing the electrons, they are very good donor of the electrons, and the aromatic compounds will take the electrons. So, by providing the electron, alkali metal like sodium will be oxidized, while by taking the electrons the aromatic compounds will be reduced. Alcohol we are using, that alcohol for example, methanol, ethanol or butanol will be acting as a proton donor. Okay. So, reduction of aromatic ring by means of alkali metal in liquid ammonia or amines. When I am talking about liquid ammonia or amine, so I want to tell you that we can also take primary amine. You can say the advantage of taking primary amine is that primary amine is having little bit higher boiling points. So, we can proceed this reaction in somewhat higher temperature. We do not need to maintain the temperature very low for this reaction. If we are taking liquid ammonia, that is having very low boiling point, that as I told you, that is -33 degrees centigrade. So, at that time we have to maintain very low temperature as a reaction condition for our reaction. While we are taking primary amine, we can go at little bit higher temperature. So, this is the main advantage. Ethanol and methanol or any alcohol like tertiary butanol can be taken as a solvent. The main work of that alcohols will provide a you can say a proton. Okay. So, in short we can say that reduction of aromatic rings by means of alkali metals in liquid ammonia or amines with ethanol or methanol, which are acting as a proton donor to give mainly unconjugated dihydroderivatives. Okay. So, this is the Birch reduction. Okay. As I told you, and you can also read out on the slide, that primary amine may also be used as a solvent, as it provides higher temperature for the reaction. Okay. One important thing you should taken care of, that phenol and any other isolated unsaturated compounds cannot be reduced by this method. So, this is a very important point, that phenol and any other isolated molecules cannot be reduced by this method, only benzene and its relative analog can be reduced. Okay. Now, what is the mechanism of this reaction? So, this mechanism actually happening in 3 steps. In the first step, formation of radical anions means as I told you that the alkali metals have to provide an electrons. Okay. So, alkali metal provide an electrons towards the aromatic compounds. So, by accepting that electrons, that particular aromatic compounds is converted into the radical anion. Okay. So, single electron will be provided by the alkali metal. In the next step, the formation of neutral radical intermediates by the addition of C2H5OH. So, when the radical anion will be formed, after that the ethanol, which was taken as a solvent, will be acting as a proton donor. That proton will be donated by this alcohol and accepted by the radical anion. Okay. By that, the formation of neutral radical intermediate will be occurring. Then in the last, transfer of electron and addition of the ethyl alcohol occurring. So, we will see how it is happening. Here you can see the reaction mechanism. So, we are having like for example, benzene, which is you know that it is a very good aromatic compounds. So, in the first step, as you can see, one electron is coming. From where it is coming? It is coming from the alkali metals. Okay. For example, sodium. So, sodium is giving electrons in this reaction. By accepting this electron, the formation of radical anions occurring. How it is happening actually? So, when this electrons coming towards here, this is going there and this is going here. Okay. So, like this delocalization of the electrons are happening by accepting the electrons from the sodium metal. Okay. And that sodium metal is now converted into Na plus. The same thing can be possible with lithium as well as potassium also. So, in the first step, as I told you, that formation of a radical anion occur. Here is a single electron present on this carbon and there is a negative charge, okay, by the transfer of these pi electrons. In the second step, as you can see that alcohol, which will be acting as a proton donor. Now, this is coming for to react with this particular radical anion, and you can see that the one H from this will be this, it is giving H plus and it will go towards this particular carbon, which is negatively charged. So, after that a formation of neutral radical intermediates occur because of the addition of ethanol. In the next step is again you can take sodium metal or you can take lithium as. So, as I have written sodium here. So, I am replacing this lithium from this sodium. So, it is again providing electrons towards this neutral radical intermediate and it is converted again into the Na plus. Okay. So, again this neutral radical intermediate is converted into the carbanion. Okay. And the next step again the addition of ethanol is happening as it is happened in the second step. So, after accepting the proton from ethanol, which is coming, which is going towards this carbon. Okay. So, in the last you can see that one of the double bond of the benzene will get reduced and we are getting hexadiene, okay, 1,4-hexadiene in the last, okay, as a products. Okay. And this is again removed. So, very important. name reaction. Okay. Again I want to repeat some important point, that reduction of aromatic rings by means of the application of alkali metal in the presence of any alcohol, for example, methanol, ethanol or tertiary butanol. Alkali metal, you all know that sodium, potassium, lithium, this is all the example of alkali metals. Okay. So, one of the double bonds of the aromatic ring will be reduced. Okay. And last product we are getting 1,4-hexadiene in case of benzene. Okay. So, one more thing I want to tell you, that we should come into before this slide now. So, again when we are talking about the mechanism of this reaction, we have taken care that if any substitute present on the aromatic ring, for example, benzene, if benzene ring is having electron donor group, for example, this is benzene ring and this is having a substitute which is electron releasing group or electron donor group, then the product which will be formed after this reaction, it will always, it will please note down the position of you can say double bond. Okay. So, like this. Okay. So, important point is, if this R is which is already present on the benzene ring, it is electron releasing group, means it will release the electron toward the benzene ring, then the double bond will be reduced is this double bond and the product which will be formed like this. For example, in the next step, if the group which is present on the benzene ring, it is electron withdrawing group, okay, then this product will be formed. Okay. So, this is the example. So, you can say that the nature of the substituent on the benzene ring will play a very important role in deciding that what will be the product and at the end of the base reduction. So, this is the important point. So, again I am telling you that we are taking alkali metal because it is a very good reducing agents, because it will all very easily provide the electrons. The second thing, we are taking you can say ethanol or methanol or tertiary butanol as a proton donor, and we can also take primary amine in place of ammonia, okay, because it will provide a little bit advantage in case of temperature. Okay. In case of primary amine, we can carry out this reaction at slightly higher temperature, while in case of ammonia the temperature should be minimized, as that ammonia is having very low boiling point. Okay. So, this is the important points you should note down. Now, coming to the application part. So, as I told you that it is very important reaction. Okay. So, first application you can see on the slide that we can use this reaction in the synthesis of reductive benzoic acid. So, you can see we are taking sodium alkali metal, we are taking ammonia, and the whole reaction is going on in the presence of ethanol. So, you can see the benzoic acid is now converted into the reductive benzoic acid. Okay. One of the double bond of the aromatic ring will get reduced. In the next application part, you can see formation of reductive methoxybenzene from the methoxybenzene. So, you can again see that that one of the double bonds of the aromatic ring will get reduced, and we are getting reductive methoxybenzene in the presence of sodium alkali metal, ammonia, and the ethanol. Some other examples, if you can remember, we can also reduce nitrobenzene. For example, this is this. So, nitrobenzene can also be reduced in the same reaction conditions. Okay. So, NH3 is there, sodium metal is there, C2H5OH there. Okay. So, this is another application of the Birch reduction in which we are reduce the nitrobenzene. Okay. Then we can also reduce chlorobenzene like this. The same reaction condition will be followed and we are going to form reduced chlorobenzene. Okay. The name we can put out that this is 3-chlorocyclo-1,4-hexadiene. The same way we can also name this particular molecule, okay, 3-nitro-cyclo-1,4-hexadiene. Okay. So, this is the important application, as you can write down, you can make a note from here, reduction of benzene in which we are getting 1,4-cyclohexadiene as a products, one of the double bond will get reduced, then reduction of nitrobenzene as I told you, then reduction of chlorobenzene. Then we can also go for the reduction of anisole. So, anisole, you know what is anisole? If methoxy group is present, then this molecule is known as anisole. Okay. And you know that OCH3 is electron donating group. So, if alkali metal like sodium alkali metal like sodium is present, NH3 is present and ethanol is present, then it is electron donor group. So, what will be our product? Our product be like this. Okay. The same thing can be done with toluene, as you can see. So, what is the formula of toluene? That this is like this. Same reaction condition will be followed and we are getting reduced toluene as a product. So, this is happening because again CH3 is a electron releasing group, OCH3 is electron releasing groups. Then we can also go for the reduction of aniline like this. Sorry. Same reaction condition will be followed and you also know that this NH2 group is also electron donor group. So, we will get this reduced products. So, this is all the application of the Birch reduction which we can note down. So, again I am just revising the topic in some in few points, that Birch reduction is a reduction of the aromatic ring in the presence of alkali metal like sodium, lithium or potassium. Ammonia should be there, okay, as a solvent and alcohol should be there as a proton donor. So, in the presence of alkali metal, ammonia and alcohol, the aromatic ring will get reduced, one of the get reduced and one of its double bond only get reduced. Okay. The main application of this particular Birch reduction is reduction of benzene, reduction of nitrobenzene, reduction of chlorobenzene, reduction of anisole, reduction of toluene, reduction of aniline. And the important point, I just again want to tell you that phenols and isolated aromatic rings cannot be reduced by this method. Okay. So, primary amine may also be used as a solvent, as it provides higher temperature for the reaction. Okay. So, this is all about the Birch reduction. I hope that you understood this Birch reduction very easily. This is very easy reaction. Now, coming to the next reaction, that is Dakin reaction. So, Dakin reaction or Dakin oxidation is an organic redox reaction in which an ortho or para hydroxylated phenylaldehyde means aromatic aldehyde having hydroxyl group, okay, hydroxyl group at ortho or para position. For example, 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde or 4-hydroxybenzaldehyde. So, again repeating, the Dakin oxidation or the Dakin reaction is an example of the chemical reaction, or you can say organic redox reaction in which an ortho or para hydroxylated phenylaldehyde, for example, 2-hydroxybenzaldehyde or 4-hydroxybenzaldehyde or ketone reacts with hydrogen peroxide. So, it is important the hydrogen peroxide will be used as oxidizing reagent in base. Okay. So, base should be also there, and what will be the product? The product will be benzene diol, okay, and a carboxylate. So, we are synthesizing benzene diol by the application of hydrogen peroxide as a oxidizing agent, which oxidize ortho or para hydroxylated aldehyde or ketone. Okay. So, the preparation of phenol from aryl aldehyde or aryl ketones involving the oxidation of corresponding aromatic compounds by hydrogen peroxide in the presence of base and subsequent hydrolysis of the aryl formate or alkyl carboxylate intermediate is known as Dakin reaction. So, again one more important point is coming that as an intermediate, okay, when we go for the oxidation of aryl aldehyde or aryl ketones, the intermediate which will be formed in between the reaction is aryl formate or alkyl carboxylate, okay, which subsequently on hydrolysis will provide the benzene diol. Okay. Okay. So, means the ester group which was produced in between the reaction is ultimately get hydrolyzed into the alcohol in the last of the reaction. The para or ortho substituents such as OH, important point you should take note on that para and ortho substituent like OH or NH2 on aryl aldehyde or aryl ketone have been reported to facilitate this reaction. So, very important reaction. We can say that if we are using hydroxy substitute or amino substituted products, or you can say hydroxy or para or ortho hydroxy substituted or para or ortho amino substituted aryl ketone or aryl aldehyde, then this reaction will be going on very easily, because that those group will facilitate this reaction. This reaction is has an application in the synthesis of phenol, as I told you earlier in the previous point. Now, Dakin reaction is an organic redox reaction, as I told you, in which ortho or para hydroxylate phenol aldehyde ketone reacts with the hydrogen peroxide in base to form a benzene diol or carboxylate. So, now what is the reaction? You can see we are having benzaldehyde, and on benzaldehyde at 4 position or para position 1 hydroxyl group is present, because it will facilitate the reaction. The reaction is carrying on in the presence of hydrogen peroxide and a base, as I told you, it will acting as oxidizing agent, and base will again is there in for hydrolysis of the reaction intermediate. So, you can see we are getting diol. This aldehyde group, okay, CHO group is converted into OH, and we are also getting ester, okay, sodium salt of the ester. Now, coming to the reaction. So, this reaction actually taking place in 4 steps. In the first step, dissociation of hydrogen peroxide is happening. So, hydrogen peroxide is dissociated into the anion, okay, in the presence of base. In the next step, this anion which is generated from the hydrogen peroxide is now attack on the you can say aromatic aldehyde, as you can see. So, how it is happening? You know that this carbonyl oxygen is more electronegative than this carbon. This is a polar bond. So, these electrons will go towards here, okay, and at that time this carbon become slightly positive charge. At that time this anion will attack on this carbon, and we are getting this tetrahedral intermediate. In the next step, aryl migration occur. How it is happening actually? This molecule, this negative charge coming towards here, and this ring will be migrated towards this oxygen. Okay. So, aryl migration occur, and what will be the product? The product will be the formate ester or aryl formate, whatever we are taking as a side chain. In the next step, as you know that base is also there. So, in the presence of base, hydrolysis occur, and when hydrolysis occur, you know that this this side ester is side ester chain is breaking, okay, in the presence of base, hydrolysis occur and it is converted into the diol. So, you can say 1,2 benzene diol will be produced as a last products. So, now coming to the synthetic application. So, Dakin oxidation is the most commonly used to synthesize benzene diol and alkoxyphenol, very important. So, catechol, as you know that it is again having benzene ring with 2 hydroxyl group on ortho position. Okay. For example, is synthesized from ortho hydroxine ortho alkoxyphenylaldehyde and ketone. It is used as the starting material for synthesis of several compounds including the catecholamines derivatives and 4 tertiary butyl catechols, a common accidents and polymerization inhibitor. So, catechol very important molecules, example of it is an example of the diol. Okay. Other useful products of the Dakin oxidation includes guaiacol, which is a precursor of several flavorants, hydroquinone, a common photograph developing reagents. So, these are very important molecules which will be obtained by the use of Dakin reaction. Okay. So, another application includes 2 tertiary butyl 1,4 hydroxyanisole and 3 tertiary butyl 1,4 hydroxyanisole, 2 antioxidants commonly used to preserve packaged food. It can also be produced by the application of Dakin reaction. Dakin reaction or Dakin oxidation is also useful in the synthesis of indole-quinones, naturally occurring compound that exhibit high antibiotic, antifungal and anti-tumor activities. So, this is these are the application of main application of the Dakin reactions. Some other application you can also remember, for example, Dakin reaction can also be used for the conversion of salicylaldehyde. Salicylaldehyde, you know that where aldehyde group and the hydroxyl group is present on the benzene ring at ortho position. So, when salicylaldehyde will be oxidized by the same reaction medium, okay, we are getting alcohol. So, some other application is also there, for example, 2 hydroxy 3 methoxybenzaldehyde can be converted into 2,3 dihydroxyanisole. So, these are all application. So, thank you so much students. I think you understand these 2 reactions very easily. So, thank you very much. We will meet in next lecture with another name reaction. Thank you.